So today I'm going to talk about building information modeling or BIM modeling in construction. It's by me, Bailey Brown. So here's my outline. We're going to talk about these topics. What is it, how it works, who uses it, project types, why it's important, costs, safety, pros and cons, the uses in Texas, and summary, and test your knowledge. So what is it? So BIM modeling, as you can see to the image on the right, is a 3D model of the projected project. What's in it? Your MEPs, so your mechanical, electrical, plumbing, low voltage, lighting systems. It just projects plans and shows the design, the building process, and operating form. So once the project is fully designed in the BIM model, you can show this as a functioning building, how the AC system works, how the heat works, lighting works, and plumbing works as well. It's very, very high detail. As you can see every breakdown of every floor, all the windows, the rooftop units on top of the building, and it shows the start to finish of the project, so the project team can see stage 1 to the final stage of the project. So how it works. An architect, a designer, and an engineer usually all get together and they have the plans on paper. And when the project wants a BIM model, they turn to a designer or somebody who knows BIM modeling really well. Usually they work for the general contractor, and they put together the 3D model using the 2D prints. They show the working components and the working components of the MEPs. So who uses it? Project teams, so the general contractor, the architects, subcontractors, the client or the owner, and the MEP engineers, building engineers, civil engineers, structural engineers. Everybody uses it if they have access to a computer or tablet that runs the BIM modeling software. So projects BIM is used on. It's used on a wide variety, mainly general commercial, so vertical projects. We mainly see them on hospitals, hotels, multifamily buildings, data centers, high-rise buildings, buildings with a lot of MEP, data, and complex components, industrial buildings, so factories, power plants, nuclear power plants, refineries, and we're seeing them a lot on renovations of existing buildings, so old buildings that need new MEPs and new low voltage and all that. We usually don't see them in heavy civil projects just because you have your mass diagrams and your plans, and that's pretty simple. But once you go up and you start having to cram a lot of MEPs into tight spaces above roofs or below floors, it gets really tight, and they're just used in general commercial construction. Why is BIM modeling important? One, it saves money because it will find potential issues without physically having to deal with the issue. So if you go and install a plumbing fixture and it bumps into electrical conduit, that can easily be seen in the BIM model when they are designing it, and that won't happen later on down the road when you're installing all that stuff. So in that case, it also will save time because you're not having to go rework your project. And then it ensures good design and efficiency. So then again, you're not bumping your drains or your water lines with your electrical conduit, and that's efficient, and it allows you to make the most of your space. Your cost. BIM modeling is usually expensive. So the software is about $3,000 per year for a company, but it can also save you $2,000 to $200,000 plus on project because you're not having to go rework things. You're saving your time. You're not paying the subcontractors more for a poor design and having to rework a lot of stuff. Also, there's something that's not in here is the cost of the designer and the architect who are actually putting the BIM modeling together. Their salary ranges from $60,000 to $120,000 depending on their knowledge and their skill set of the program. So how does BIM modeling make the job site safer? And the image you see on the right, that is pre-built conduit. So when you have an electrical subcontractor who is going to install conduit, they're always on scaffolding or a man lift or a scissor lift. With pre-building the conduit in sections, it allows the subcontractor to install it one time. They're not having to be up there for hours bending, installing conduit or plumbing fixtures or whatever they're installing up high. So you're taking a lot of the fall risks out and you're making it simple. It's just a simple install. They click together and reduces the chance of on-site safety incidents. So the pros of BIM: everything is pre-designed. Everything is pre-designed. So your MEPs, your floors, your everything that you see, can feel, touch, it's hidden behind the walls, is designed. So you have knowledge of everything, where everything's at, and how everything functions, and how everything will function on day 1 of completion to day 365 of completion. So it's going to save time and money, so you're not reworking your job. It's safer, and prefabbing MEPs saves time and money. When you get your MEP contractors to pre-build in their shop compared to the job site, it's saving money, and the subcontractors aren't working hard in the heat or the cold or wherever they're working. It's just easy, and they know what they're doing in their shop. They have all the tools and they have all the equipment they need. So what are the cons? Of course, the cost. It's pretty expensive. Also, the time it takes to design a project. It can take anywhere from a month to 6 months to 8 months, depending on how well the building is designed on paper and how well the architects and the engineers and the general contractors are getting along. That's one of the biggest issues. Also, the lack of knowledge in construction. You don't see this on many jobs. You'll see it on super expensive jobs just because they don't want to rework a lot of the big items, as well as they don't want to spend a lot of money reworking it. But also, the subcontractors usually don't spend the money to give their employees the tablets or the computers that run this, so they're not always seeing this stuff, and they're always having to go to the project team for the general contractor and asking them questions and asking for the designs themselves, and they're getting it on paper, so they're not using the program efficiently. So how is BIM modeling used in construction in Texas? All the major cities are using it. I mean, if you see a high rise, most likely there's a BIM model of it. It's probably not a great BIM model because most of the buildings are older, but as they are renovated, BIM modeling is being used. And then as we're seeing the growth of Texas, of course, we're needing more hospitals and more high rises as we're bringing in tech firms. And they're all going to want this kind of stuff. It saves them money, it saves the general contractor money, and it's just easier on everybody. So the use in Texas is growing. We just need more people who can design the models themselves, and that is the hardest part. So in summary, BIM modeling is a 3D model instead of a 2D model. You reduce the risk of mistakes. You pre-plan the MEPs and other building systems. It allows for prefabbing of the MEP systems and other systems within the building. And there are definitely more pros than cons. It saves time, money. Sure, it's costly to do, but in the end, knowing where everything is and knowing everything functions properly without a lot of rework, everything works out well. Finally, Testing your knowledge. What is BIM used for? Just efficiency. That is the key. Making everything efficient from the job site to the building. And how is BIM beneficial to the project team? Everything is laid out. So there should be no issues other than verifying materials or submittals. Everything is laid out for the subcontractors, and they shouldn't have any install questions unless it's material that they've never used before. These are my references, and that's it. Thanks for listening.